Hi guys, welcome to Watkins Way. Today we're going to make a pimento cheese. And pimento cheese I always thought was a southern thing. Actually, I haven't thought about pimento cheese in years. And last week I was in North Carolina and I took my granddaughter out to lunch and she ordered a pimento cheese BLT. I asked her, I said, "You ever had that before?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "It's really good though." So then I remembered I had an Aunt Ruby. And every time we'd have a family reunion or a funeral, you know how people would bring food, she would always show up with her banana pudding and pimento cheese sandwiches. And I liked them. They were really good. I mean, most people bought fried chicken or pies and cakes, stuff like that. So anyway, today we're going to make pimento cheese, and I'm going to grate up the ingredients. Is going to be Miracle Whip, not just mayonnaise. This is Miracle Whip. We're going to use a jar this size of pimentos, 4-ounce jar. I've already taken another jar and drained off the liquid from it. Then we're going to spice it up with a little bit of cayenne pepper. So we're going to grate this up. I'm going to do kind of, this side is more of a rustic grater. And let me tell you a story about pimento cheese. Back in the 1800s in New York City, some of the finer restaurants and hotels, they would import pimentos from Spain, and they would import the cheese from France. The chef would make his own mayonnaise. Then they would spice it up. If somebody wanted it a little hotter, they'd use a hot sauce or hot cayenne. And they would serve it in the afternoons. They'd put it on white bread. They would cut the crust off of the white bread, and they'd cut the sandwich into little triangles, and they would have it at their teas. And it really caught on. And it was reported that it was in newspapers from New York to the West Coast, out in LA, and it became really popular. Then there was a guy that lived in a little town in Georgia called Griffin, Georgia, back in the late 1800s. He figured out how to grow the pimentos, and I think really pimentos is just a red bell pepper. That's how it became a southern thing. It started out in New York as a really nice hors d'oeuvre. Then I think it went to the South and they just mixed it with mayonnaise and didn't make a big deal about it. So we're going to do that today. So let's see how much I got in here. Okay, I got my cheese grated. I bought a block of cheese, sharp cheddar, 16 ounces. I've done about half. So let's put this in our bowl. And there's really no measurements. I'm not going to say you should use 8 ounces of cheese and 4 ounces of mayonnaise. You just want to get it to the right consistency where you can put it on a piece of bread and make a sandwich out of it. So start out, the best thing to do is use just a little mayonnaise at first, because you can always add to it. Then I'm going to add 4 ounces of drained pimentos. And then I like mine a little bit spicy, so I got some cayenne pepper. And I'm gonna do just a little pinch to begin with. And then we're gonna start mixing this up. And if we need to add more mayonnaise, we can. But if you add too much mayonnaise at the beginning, you're screwed, you can't take it out. So, but anyway, we're gonna mix this up and make ourselves a pimento cheese sandwich. It's looking pretty good right now. Nice color. And I like when you grate, you know how your grater has, I already put the grater over in the dishwasher, but it has the bigger where you can, I think they call them a rustic cut. I like to do that when I'm grating, when I'm making pimento cheese. You get a little, I don't know, it seems like when I bite into the cheese, I can taste the cheese a little bit more. So anyway, this is just about right, and I probably used just a couple, maybe 3/4 of a cup of Miracle Whip, and you got to make sure it's Miracle Whip. And then I want to show you what they did in New York. Fancy people in New York. They would make their sandwich, and they did say that they use white bread, so I'm using white bread. So I'm going to take a piece of white bread and put my pimento cheese on here, just like this. Some over here on the edge. All right. And then what they would do for their afternoon teas, they want to be a little fancy, so they would take the crust, cut the crust off with a serrated knife, move that over. Then they would cut them in little triangles, and then they would place them, you know, all fancy and everything on a plate, and then serve it with tea. And that's okay, but in the South, here's what we do in the South. We don't have to be fancy. We just got white bread and pimento cheese. So you just throw some on there like this. You fold it over, bite into it. That's how we do it in the South, and this is really good. It is so good. Got to try this. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.